G'day guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Boundary Riders podcast, episode 142, and with everyone getting back to pre-season in the AFL space, we have a lot to talk about today, a lot of injuries to cover. Of course, we're going to be going over not only my breakout players for 2026, we're also going to be going over my brother's players who are going to be breaking out in 2026, and of course, much more. So let's roll the intro and get straight into the new episode. Welcome to the Boundary Riders podcast, your one-stop shop for all your AFL content needs. He looks at his options, and Jack Ginnivan says, boys, you brought me to the club to do justice! But this guy has flog written all over him.
From attack down, Reed sprints away from Petrarca, leaves him in his wake, takes a second bounce, takes a third. The sheer arrogance of Harley Reid. Finish the job, young man!
So let's get into the footy news from the week that was. So guys, as always, my brother is here with me, and he is the reason why this has been delayed by one day. So I did say on Instagram, the post, that you'll have to receive a reprimand. So I think it's 5 tips off at the start of the year. We did the tipping comp.
I was pretty bad at it from last year, so
you focus more on AFL fantasy.
Yeah, it's not going to help my cause anyway.
Yeah, hopefully, once the AFL Fantasy League does open up, which I think will be in a week or two, a week or so, then we can start opening that sort of stuff up to everyone else. But anyway, basically the big news of the AFL space is everyone's back from Christmas break and they're all starting pre-season, and it's an absolute war zone out there. I think every single time you see a post from the likes of a Mitch Cleary, a Cal Toomey, or if you got the notifications on, every single time it's dangerous. You don't want your club to be named.
No, especially the last 2 days, like just crazy how many just like small soft tissue injuries and serious ACLs and just like season ending already. So
yeah, I mean, you basically I think they came back for about a month up before Christmas.
Yeah,
I think, and then came back now. So they've done a 5-week block of training at this moment in time.
Not
basically
say that.
Yeah, let's say it's about that, and it's not long now until we get into match simulations.
Yeah,
it's only a month and a bit now.
The State of Origin's like literally a month away now. So.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of players pulling out pretty quickly.
I think coaches will have their say before that happens.
Yeah, well, looking at the injuries, a lot of them came out today just in the last couple of hours. So another soft tissue injury involving Collingwood. This was a hamstring to Dan McStay in training. Now, this guy's been injury prone for a very long time. I think Collingwood will take this pretty precautionary. From what I've heard as well, that Jack Buller's had a pretty good start to the pre-season, so that's good news for the Pies. Maybe he'll be able to jump straight in, but I think they'll be very, very cautious of Dan McStay, especially with him probably being. I mean, who's their best key forward now?
It's probably Buller, isn't it?
Who else I think Tim Membry's probably their best, but
yeah, but you can't. Yeah, well, you got to pretty much say that he's got to pull out an Elliott kind of year.
I was going to say, is Jamie Elliott their best key forward at the moment? I mean, he marks high. I don't know, but it's going to be tough if Collingwood have. I mean, they've already had. We'll get to another couple in a minute, but they've had a few soft tissue injuries already mentioned throughout the last week or so.
And this is what happens to an aging list, doesn't it?
Oh no, you've gone with it early. It's the aging list. It's all over. It's the aging list of Collingwood. The cliff is coming. Now, someone that really wasn't mentioned today, but even though this was a news story on Aiden Core. I don't know if you saw about this.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So he has been confirmed that his preparation, trying to get back for their practice matches against Melbourne and Collingwood, could be delayed. Seems that he will have a 4 to 6 week setback with a moderate grade calf strain. So Aiden Core, you've sung his praises over the years.
The most at one point wasn't he the most overpaid? No, sorry, he still is the most overpaid defender in the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to be. I mean, if you're at North Melbourne, you want to be overpaid to go there anyway. But yeah, he only managed 10 games last year as well at the highest level, and he's getting paid a lot of money. So North Melbourne, they didn't do anything in the trade period either. There were a couple of defensive players they could have picked up. They decided to just go in. They said that this is their team.
Yeah.
And now Aiden Core. We also heard about Jackson Archer. We'll get to in a moment, but not looking great for North at the moment.
No.
Clayton Oliver also strained his calf over the last couple of days. It was January 12th. Apparently, it's just deadline day. Really, like every single player. That was the first. I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So Monday, when after the weekend, they came back, I think for maybe a Friday, last week, and then they came back Monday, and then every single player just fucking hit the turf. I think a lot of them are faking it. I think a lot of them are just like, look, this is the first day of pre-season, basically after Christmas. I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do the 2K trial.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, I'd do it too.
Yeah, yeah, I'll pull a calf just to not make sure I run it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember in the under-14s, I didn't want to do any more running, and I was like, look, I've done a hammy, even though the amount of work that I did at footy was like not much. I pulled a hamstring, coach. I can't do it. Couple of weeks off, I think it's good to go, and then that's when they start doing the ball skills and stuff. So you start getting handled in the footy. I think players are actually playing this perfectly right now. Yeah. So I think the Clayton Oliver's making the right move here, but not really great considering he's a midfielder who needs to really hit the ground running in this season after getting basically let go from Melbourne. There's a couple of injuries topics I want to take a look at on the Adelaide Crows. So Sid Draper and Ben Keys were running laps away from the main group at training. Draper has been with the rehab group for most of the summer so far with a groin problem, while Keys has a minor hamstring issue. Now that was mentioned, I think, last week, so not great signs for both of them. Sid Draper, hopefully he can have a good season. Last year, obviously his first year, just kind of had a bit of he started the first, I think, 10 games or something, or like 5-6 games as sub, and then got chucked back to the Sandful. Had a pretty good Sandful year, so hopefully he can have a good campaign coming into his second year. Then we get to the couple of the bad ones, of course. Jackson Archer missed entirety of the 2026 season with the ACL. Sad news for him. Same goes with Jesse Motlop, suffered an ACL. Hasn't confirmed if he's out for the rest of the year, but I would imagine he's probably gone for the whole season.
Yeah, well, you think it'd have to be.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be going for it at this point. We saw Will White actually win the 2K time trial for Carlton on his return and had a couple of good games in the top team last year as a small forward. So I think that's good signs for him. Jagger Smith's obviously coming into the side. So I think they've got a couple of reinforcements there.
Yeah, they've got the Will Haywoods and stuff to bolster that forward line as well. So it's a different looking forward line and team for Carlton.
Yeah, it's a different looking Carlton going into this year. So hopefully they can find some other kids and just get them through. Interesting year for Michael Voss as well. Obviously, we both said that he's the most under pressure coach can't get to this year, and I think it is going to be tough on him if injuries start to mount up though. Looking at Port Adelaide, young gun in Tom Cochrane, significant hamstring strain, will be sidelined for at least 2 months. So I think he played a couple of games last year.
Yeah, and then he got a injury to finish his 2025. So he's a good prospect. It's just that, not really what you want to do, especially when you're an emerging talent. You don't want to get a preseason injury.
Yeah, but I mean, look, keep him on the list while you get Dougie into the team, and then because he's obviously the number one pick, you want him straight into the team, and then they can deal with him whatever they want. Keep him around the Sandful for a while, and then they can bring them both in. The Cochrane brothers just lighting it up for the power. That's God, fucking what a wank. Anyway, for Collingwood, Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe both strained their calves. A little bit on the lower end, be silent for a couple of weeks, but as you mentioned, not great for older players getting calf injuries at this stage of pre-season. You want to try and hit the ground running going into season 2026, and we've already heard news of Isaac Quaynor on light duties as well. I don't know if you heard about that. He's not doing much. Nick Dacos did have an injury issue, I think, earlier on in the preseason, back in December, November. But he's okay. But you don't really want this sort of stuff mounting up. We saw what happened last year with the Swans having a lot of injury concerns going early into the season, and they just could not get back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay to have a couple, but once especially with Collingwood with their depth, not great.
Especially when it's, so that's 3, Quaynor, Howe, and Moore, but all in defense. Yeah, it's not. They don't really have a lot of reinforcements back there.
I mean, they mentioned Reece McGuinness as someone who's had a good start to pre-season, and he's been a defender that they've wanted to play down there, but has struggled with injury. So if they're relying on a guy who has barely played a game to jump into that defense straight away and perform, it's going to be tough. I mean, look, luckily they're on the lower grade for the likes of Moore and Howe, but Jeremy Howe as well was playing that final injured, and he's getting older now. The injuries are starting to mount up. It's not great.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're all good there. Finally, we have Toby Green. He's battling an injury concern. He's been doing it throughout the whole summer, and he's still in a race for time for the State of Origin game. So I don't think they risk it. There's no way their captain, Toby Green, they're going to risk that.
Yeah, no. And would you want to be, as the captain, want to walk into the office of Kingsley and play the Origin, coming off an injury, and then re-injure it on the Origin? I wouldn't want to be Toby Green, even if I'm the captain.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere near Adam Kingsley with bad news.
No.
Those biceps fucking pulsing. You telling me that you played in Origin when you were bloody injured? What the fuck? And just a big hole straight into the wall. I feel like there's a lot of holes. I bet there's a lot of pictures around in the Kingsley office that are covering up holes.
Yeah, it'll be Clarkson 2.0.
Oh, yeah, when he punched that. I'm surprised he hasn't punched a hole in something else.
Oh, well,
But now
when you're coaching North Melbourne, you're surprised. Yeah, like, he's probably the same thing with Kingsley, like, just plastered photos all across the office.
I feel like now they've got to, like, put some sort of, like, rubber on every single wall of Alistair Clarkson's box every week, so when he's punching it just bounces back. I think that's the only way to, like, survive or keep the foundation of the coach's box up with Alistair Clarkson and North Melbourne, and now a couple of injury concerns. Who the hell knows how they're going to go this year. On other news in the AFL space, it's mostly the injury stuff, so unless like 3 or 4 just bounce out of the way just as we're recording this Wednesday evening, so there shouldn't be any more, hopefully not. Zach Merritt has dumped his manager. Couldn't get across to Hawthorn, and now he's like, oh, that's your fault.
Well, to be honest, I think it's a very long time since the trade period. Don't you think you should have done it a lot earlier?
Yeah, he should have sacked him on the spot. He should have told him, fucking, you get me to Hawthorn or I'm sacking you.
Well, I thought it would have happened before he made the announcement of his captaincy. About the captaincy. I thought he would do it, but I think, yeah, it was bound to happen. It was never not going to happen.
I mean, surely he goes again, doesn't he? You think he just goes around again looking for Hawthorn?
Yeah, I think another year off his contract.
It could be similar to like maybe a Josh Dunkley situation where he goes and looks at a different club as well. Maybe this time he'll, realise from his mistake and then look at other clubs.
Because it was a very much late in the postseason before the period. Like, you pretty much had one option, and if you couldn't get it done, you kind of go back to the drawing board. But yeah, it could be a Josh Dunkley sort of situation.
I mean, even what Charlie Curnow, he made the right decision of like, I'm not picking a club specifically, but I'm picking a couple of clubs who are interested. Like he picked Geelong, Gold Coast, and the Swans. And even though the Swans seemed to have been his third option, that was the only team that could really get it done, and that's where he went. Yeah, because he couldn't want to stay at Carlton anymore. So I think as well with like Zach Merritt and stuff, and with Hawthorn, he didn't even really announce it. He waited all the way until the second week of the trade period. Yeah, and it was too late by then.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. By then, you never know. Like, Hawthorn could be up there, but you never know because he seems like he wants to be in Victoria. So you think?
He was also like Christian Petrarca. Like, he was like that. He's like, I want to play with one of the big Victorian clubs, and the next year he's like, I just want away from fucking the Demons.
So you never know. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like one of the rises this year get the eye of Zach Merritt.
Yeah. Especially now with like him getting older, he's in his he's not in his mid-30s yet, but he's going to start getting there. And even though I think he could play a role as like a half-backer in his late part of his career, he's always been like that midfield type, and I think he would definitely add value to pretty much any team in the competition. Yeah. So yeah, I don't see him in Essendon next year. No. I doubt that highly. Next up, Lachie Neale. We're not going into that, but
we all know it.
We all know what happened. Now, I did want to talk about a little bit to do with a rumour regarding him going back to WA to be with his kids. Chris Fagan said that they wouldn't get in the way of him wanting to go back and be with his kids in WA. I think it's very interesting when they didn't block it, but with Cal Archie, they didn't get the deal done. They made him wait till pre-season. So it does. Kane Corns in the week kind of said that this is good for the Brisbane Lions. They have all the balls in their court, basically, that they can get a deal done. He's a dual Brownlow medalist. He's a dual premiership captain. So basically, it seems like at the end of the year, he'll have a decision to make if he wants to go back to WA, be with his kids, or if he wants to stay in Queensland. I feel like there could be a way that he does go back. But
which team do you think he goes to?
Well, if you're Fremantle, I mean, he's such a great player, but do you really want him?
No, I think he goes to the Eagles.
Oh, I think
he goes to the Eagles. I think, yeah. Even
I'm
though
surprised West Coast didn't go harder for him in the last trade period.
I think they were focused on other players, and they just. I don't think Lachie Neale wanted to go home yet. Because let's be honest, it didn't happen until just after the period happened. So
as far as we
know,
know.
He thought he could, slip it under the rug.
Yeah, it didn't
Maybe.
go well, did it?
You know.
And then apparently today that Jackson Payne is split with his missus or something, and
Yeah.
now they're talking about all this sort of stuff. Like, yeah, look, Lachie Neale's a bit of a dog. Let's be real, bit of a dog, bro. But what do you think about this? Like, I don't know if you've seen a lot of the speculation regarding all of Lachie Neale. Like, he should be sacked. He should be all this and that. I don't want to put you out on a limb.
His personal.
Yeah, do you think this
thing,
should all
no.
be... I mean, at the end of the day, I think that this is going to be the norm now, which is really frustrating. Because, I mean, they are AFL players, but they shouldn't be doing that. They should be an example. I totally agree. Like, he shouldn't be doing that sort of shit. But should it be publicised to this extent?
I think it was more publicised because the fact is that it happened, a month before Christmas.
Yeah, and his ex kind of said stuff about it.
Well, but I think it's more the fact is that there was no sport AFL to talk about.
True.
But I think that was a thing about, we've got something on football, Australia's game, we've got something to talk about here.
Yeah.
There was nothing really happening. The Ashes had just started.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that was
I don't know if you scroll past Facebook much anymore, but every single story I see every single time I go on Facebook, maybe once every couple of days, because who the fuck goes on Facebook anymore? But every single time it's a clickbait story about random shit to do with this fucking story. And then all they do, I've started to notice now that they just copy and paste pretty much 3/4 of the article that they did last time, and then add a little bit of the snippet to their groundbreaking new development. And it's like, bro, you are so fucking bullshit, bro. If I did that, people would fucking call you out. Fucking, oh my God. And I mean, people do, but I mean, who gives a... You think the Daily Mail are going to give a fuck about some random cunt fucking saying, hey, you stop clickbaiting, you bullshit cunts?
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. But, yeah. It's kind of crazy the way it kind of blew up. And obviously, Lachie Neale deserves... It's very interesting. He said he stood down. He stood down as captain. I'm not surprised by that. Who do you think Brisbane go with? Do you think they go with a Sol, Harris, Andrews?
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll have maybe
I actually wouldn't be surprised if Josh Dunkley gets the call up as a co-captain.
I thought, isn't he already? No, he's part of the leadership group. I think it's either going to it'll either just be solo Harris Andrews, or it'll be him and McCluggage.
You think McCluggage? Okay.
Yeah, I think a Dunkley might come into a vice captaincy role, but I don't think they go with him as captain.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, end of the day, not too... I mean, I think that he'll probably move back to WA at the end of the year, and I think Brisbane will kind of, at this point as well, if he has a good year or whatever, they'll get a lot back for him, and he's getting a bit older now. Brisbane will got younger guys to just chuck in that midfield. You got Levi Ashcroft. Will Ashcroft's been playing off half forward at times. He can go back in that. He's a A-grade midfielder. You got Fletcher, bunch of the Rayner, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
you chuck all
they've
the way
got
through
plenty of it, and then
McCluggage.
you chuck a Neil into the West Coast midfield with Harley Reid, and a Willem Dersman and stuff. Like, it's starting to shape up for him for like a couple of years before he does retire, Lachie Neale. So wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I don't think.
Yeah, for both parties.
Yeah.
Get a couple of first round draft picks for Brisbane.
Yeah.
I mean, not like they don't have enough.
Yeah, it's like they can just grab every other academy kid that they can grab.
I mean, I think we should keep the academies just for the New South Wales teams.
Yeah.
Bring back Cole, or I say, for the Swans. Anyway, let's move on. We'll talk about every team's breakout player. So you guys probably saw the video that I made over the start of the week regarding my choices. A couple of people had some, differing opinions, which is totally fair. A few of them I probably picked with, especially with the post that I made on Instagram and stuff, people weren't really a bit confused about it. I mean, that's kind of fair. I think in the video I explained it better. Did you even watch the video? Probably not.
Nah.
No, of course he doesn't. Fucking watch the video, bro. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so I went through my players at every single team that I think are going to break out this year. So I went with Dan Curtin of the Crows, Logan Morris of the Lions, Sam Walsh of the Blues, McGuinness of Collingwood, Caddy of Essendon, Erasmus from Freo, Nevitt from Geelong, Lombard from Gold Coast, Cadman from the Giants, Weddle from Hawthorn, Langford from Melbourne, Trembath from North Melbourne, Bergman from Port Adelaide, Lawler from Richmond, Wilson from St Kilda, Sarong from Sydney, Harley Reid from the West Coast Eagles, and Fraser from the Dogs. Now, from what I can tell, I think you've only got maybe one the same. So you've gone with a pretty different list, which I do appreciate. Makes it much better.
I couldn't really think of anyone for the Dogs. I went with Fraser. So
yeah. So all right. So have you got your list there?
Yeah. So for the Crows, I went Sam Draper. For the Brisbane Lions, I went Sam Marshall. Carlton, Liam Reddy. Collingwood, Ed Allen. Essendon, Archie Roberts. Freo, Jai Amos. Geelong, Connor O'Sullivan. Gold Coast, Jake Rogers. GWS, Ryan Angwin. Hawthorn, Cam McKenzie. Melbourne, Thulstrup. North Melbourne, Cooper Harvey. Port Adelaide, Joe Berry. Richmond is Sam Banks. St Kilda is Alex Taru. Sydney is Malcolm Roses. West Coast is Elijah Hewitt. And Western Bulldogs is Joel Fraser.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of those players you would kind of expect on there. Like, Ed Allen, Draper, Roberts. I mean, Roberts is kind of, sort of at that point now. Angwin, McKenzie, Tolstrup, Berry as well for Banks, Alex Taru. I'm expecting big things from him. I'm expecting him to even go for the Rising Star. There are a couple that I think I'd like to discuss with you. Like, first of all, Liam Reedy, of course. Fremantle brought him in from Freo's. It's Ruckman. I like the trade that they did. Pidnet did have a bit of an injury concern throughout this preseason so far. So, what's your thoughts on Liam Reedy?
I think he's been a capable ruckman. I just think he's always been third string behind.
It's tough to get him from Fremantle.
Yeah, he was never going to play it for Freo. They want to play two ruckman Freo, which was never going to help Reedy. But fresh start. I think Pidnet's getting up there anyway. His big body, he's got a lot. He's had a few injury concerns. I think Liam Reedy can start the season if he can get the number one role straight up. I think that he will show a lot of teams that they should be looking at. They should have looked at him because.
Yeah, I mean, you look at players like Lloyd Meek from Hawthorn as well. Obviously, he was sitting in Fremantle's twos for a very long time. Then finally got his spot at Hawthorn and then thrived.
Yeah.
So I think we do see. Like, I think it's pretty not well known in the AFL space that ruckmen obviously do take a long time to develop, but a lot of teams ruckmen have been from different clubs.
Yeah.
So a lot of them do move around. It's very rare that you see a team that has a ruckman that's been there throughout the whole time, because a lot of the time they have to develop in the lower reserves, and then for a long time they just never get a go. I mean, you even think of players like Max Heath, who's gone to Melbourne now, sat in St Kilda's reserves for such a long time without getting a go. You've got so many other ones like Tom Campbell, who's been like a VFL ruckman for his whole career, but is on an AFL list. I mean, he is just sitting in dreamland, really.
Yeah.
Not having to deal with the AFL pressures, but just gets to sit there with an AFL contract every single year. I mean, I'm sure he'd like to play AFL footy as well, but yeah. Another one I wanted to talk about as well is a bit like Jai Amos for me. Like, he's been around the mark for Fremantle for a while. He had a very good first year, but hasn't really come along since. Why is it this year for you?
I think it's been a lot of mental demons, because he's had to literally. He feels like he's had to lead that forward line in a way, because Tracy took a big step last year. 2 years ago, took a big step. Then Paddy Voss did most of it last year. I think if he can get going, Amos, they can win the flag, Freo. But I just don't think that's how much potential he's had. He can have I think we saw like with the Giants with Cadman last year. He took a big step forward, and I think Amos can do the same. It's just that maybe it's taken him a bit longer for Amos to get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, he has competition now. Like, Mason Cox is there, and it is another forward option that if he doesn't take his... And, I mean, obviously you got the Luke Jackson-Darcy factor.
Yeah.
That Patrick Voss has already kind of cemented himself now as, like, their second, third forward. So, Jai Amos isn't just a pick every single week. He has to perform or else he's going to lose his spot.
Yeah, and I think, I think he can do it. And he could be the wild card, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think Fremantle need to find that third forward that's going to kick them goals too. Like, they've got Shea Bolton, of course, with like that X factor. You've got the couple of other ones like Frederick and Switkowski, those smalls. But then you've got Tracy, who's just that big bullocking key forward, which is good. Patrick Voss just, will be that energizer around the forward line. But Jai Amos has been around the mark for that, contested marking, the tall guy that you can put at the top of the goal square, who can do the work. And Tracy's the one who can get up the ground. They need Amos to take that role.
Yeah.
And then I think I can agree with you. I think they can be up there in top 4 this year. But he needs to fire if they're going to win the flag.
Yeah.
So you think that's
I think it's a big possibility.
You're looking at Connor O'Sullivan. Now, some would probably say that he broke out last year. Why have you put him here there?
It's more the fact is that he needs to back it up, I think. You don't get second year blues and, he's just struggled through the year. I think he showed what potential he has, and he needs to move into that Tom Stewart role in a way and just, take that. Well, not maybe take the mantle, but take the chance of developing more into that intercept defender that he is.
Yeah, I mean, if he has a good year, if he can just go another step forward, he could be an All-Australian this year as well. That could be a big move for him, and I can see that's kind of like how I was leaning towards an Aaron Cadman type of like you could say he broke out last year, or a Logan Morris he could break out, but I mean, I think he can go from that good forward, that B+ forward, to that Coleman medalist. Yeah. I think that I kind of see with like Connor O'Sullivan, he can go from that high B grade defender to one of the best in the competition this year.
Yeah.
I think that can definitely be a big move for them. Now, Cooper Harvey, I don't think, if you don't really follow like pre-season, some people would be a little bit surprised by Cooper Harvey, but if you have followed it, a lot of people may not know that he's actually been training at halfback this pre-season, with the likes of McKercher and O'Sullivan likely moving more into the midfield for the Roos. So is that kind of where you're looking at Harvey, that he could be?
Yeah, and the fact is that I think the last couple of years you've seen how dynamic having a good running defender is in your team. You looked at the Nick Dacos's, the Wanganeen Miliras, and players like that. If you have such a dynamic, that sort of an effective kick sort of player, they can change a game and they can change the form of a team. And
yeah. I mean, if he can replicate some of what his dad used to do, that would be something for North Melbourne.
And you think that they have a lot of father sons, the North Melbourne, with even though that Archer's out, sadly, but maybe it gives him another that, because Archer would play that defensive player. It would play defender, so maybe Cooper Harvey can cement his spot with an Aiden Core out as well. Even though they're different sort of defenders, but he can find that role in there with other players around him.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of other ones as well. We've seen Riley Hardiman as well get some games last year as well, had a couple of good performances. And, I think it's good that they're moving these players like the Sheezels, the McKerchers and the O'Sullivans up the ground a bit more.
Yeah.
But I think the Cooper Harvey type could definitely thrive at that halfback role. And it seems like he's had a good start to the pre-season. Looking at Port Adelaide, you got Joe Berry. Now, was it a little bit disappointing in his first season?
Yeah, I think they wanted to play a bit of forward to that small forward sort of a role, and he was found. Well, he wasn't found in a way. That it's such a bad position. Him playing that one and half forward in a way. It's such a
it's kind of a no man's.
It's land. A no man's land. So I think he went back to Sandford last year and he played a bit of defense and a bit of all over the ground and try and find a spot. And I think maybe that was influenced by Josh Carr coming in. He's not like to Ken Inkley in a way. It's like you're going back to the reserves and you're just going to find a spot, and then this preseason he's going to find some form, and I think he can do that.
Yeah. And
with even if he does play forward, he has a different dynamic forward now with big forwards coming in. Hopefully, Lukosius, Lord, Georgiadis, all of them can start and stay in the team and not be injured.
Yeah.
So it could be an interesting. And even if he gets midfield time, with the fact is that Boak's gone, Wines is getting up there, he might get some more midfield time. So he could have a good season.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you mentioned a couple of those tall forwards there. Todd Marshall seems like he's going to be moving into defence. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. You got Harrison Ram, you've got Zerk Facture, you got Lear.
Radicalier.
and Radicalier. So you've got a good core there for. Do you really need the other one? In a way, I think that Marshall will play the Aaliyah role, so you don't need two of them doing it. I think if you can have Aaliyah coming in with the Ram and Berserk Fracture, you can use Aaliyah as the intercept. You don't need two.
I think you've mentioned a few times that Port Adelaide have lacked that lockdown defender to allow Aaliyah to play his natural game.
Yeah.
Because Aaliyah for so many years has had to, since he's been at the Power, has had to play as a lockdown defender, even though his best footy even at Port Adelaide.
His first 2 years
at Port Adelaide, he even got an All-Australian because he was an intercept defender. But then when a couple of players retired, he had to move into a more lockdown defender.
It's the fact is that if they're going to make Marshall a defender, they have to make sure that Aaliyah can be that intercept.
Yeah.
They can't
if you want to pick between two of them, you want Aaliyah to be the intercept.
Yeah. You don't want Todd Marshall doing it because Todd Marshall can take a good contested mark.
Yeah.
So it could be it could work, but I believe that, and probably what most sport fans want, is that they want Aaliyah to be the intercept. They don't want him to be the one-on-one because he can do it once every 4 or 5 weeks at a good enough AFL standard, but
he gets pushed off the ball. He's not strong enough,
and especially against the big guys, he does get moved around.
Yeah. And the final one I want to talk about is with the Swans and Malcolm Roses. So, of course, he was one of the 3 inclusions of the Swans in this trade period. I did talk about Jai Sarong in my video, how I think that he's that new player that the Swans need as that intercept defender. Obviously, Malcolm Roses is down the other end. Why are you thinking he's going to break out in Sydney colours?
I think that he showed it a lot before Dimmer Hardwick got there, to be honest. He just seemed he was always on the outer at Gold Coast with Dimmer there. He's an electric forward, small forward, and Sydney kind of lacked that when Papley was not there last year.
Yeah.
And, you can't... the Tom Hanleys, the Corey Warners, the... who was the other one you had?
Caden
Cleary. Yeah. They're just too young in a way. Corey Warner took a good chunk of it, to be honest. But once, to be honest, just before Papley came back, that's when Corey Warner started losing his spark a bit.
Yeah,
I felt, and
I think a couple of the Swans players as well that kind of, with you, like you mentioned, Hanley and Cleary. Hanley not so much, but with Cleary especially, they're not really small forwards. They're just in that role because they can't get a spot in the midfield.
Yeah.
So I think they're playing like we're going to play forward to then move into the midfield. And a lot of the time, especially nowadays, you need a specialist small forward.
Yeah, and they've been more, I think in VFL football, they've been playing a bit off of that midfield most of the time.
Caden Cleary's having 30 touches each week in the VFL. He's not having 5 goals up forward. And Tom Hanley actually kind of struggled when he went into the VFL. He had a couple of games earlier in the season, but then didn't find goals. He was good with his tackle pressure, but Sydney needed goals with Tom Papley not there.
Yeah.
It was just he needs to find a good preseason or he could be off the list.
And that's what I think Malcolm Roses can bring into that team. I think he can be that X factor that if Papley's there, Papley was moved into the midfield every now and then as that X factor. So they can still have Malcolm Roses in the forward line and just do some crazy stuff, which we have seen in the past.
Yeah, I hope, fucking as a Swans fan, hopefully we do. That's basically all we have for all the breaking out players. Make sure to let us know down below what players you think are going to break out for your club, of course, and make sure to roast us if you think our opinions are absolutely terrible. I always love to read those comments, so it's very fun. That's pretty much all we have for the footy stuff for this week, guys. So we'll move on now, get to a bit of world sport. And first of all, Test match finished a couple of days ago. 4-1 Australia. Good win for us. Just too good in the end.
Yeah, well, it's amazing what happens when you can actually play 5 days of cricket, isn't it?
Yeah, it was actually a lot more interesting, isn't it, when you watch a bit of Test match?
Yeah, it's like
5 days.
If you want to have a 2-day Test match, you might as well just watch T20 for cricket. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think that it showed that 5-day Test matches aren't the worst in the world. There was a bit of there's a good contest between bat and ball. And
would you say the SCG test was the best of the whole series?
Yeah, I would actually. Yeah, because even though the Adelaide test went for 5 days, it's just that there wasn't a lot of scoring in the first couple of days. It just seemed like on the Sydney test, it was bound to get us a result in the end.
Yeah.
You know, like
I kind of think as well that at the Sydney Test, it didn't, you didn't know who was going to win until kind of the end of the fourth day.
Yeah.
And even then, even when Australia were into bat, they lost wickets pretty consistently. And if they, if Jacob Bethel took that catch in the slips, could have been a different story.
Yeah, exactly. So
if they didn't drop so many fucking catches, that Will Jacks drop, what the hell was he doing?
Oh, just watching all the commentary, like from every different broadcaster, it's so funny. Yeah. But it just shows to me like where like the last 3 tests they were more competitive. Even the 2-day Boxing Day test, they were way more competitive than England were than they were in the first couple test matches. It just showed that if they actually prepared for this series and had a couple tour matches and stuff like that, they could have really won this series.
They should have. I mean, they walked into the series. Australia didn't have a bowling attack. I mean, they had Nathan Lyon, who was on one leg for like half. I mean, obviously he did his hamstring in the third test, but I mean, like he wasn't effective in the first test. He's taken out in the second test, and then was not really that effective in the third.
He took a few wickets, but then when
Mitchell Starc obviously dominated. He got 30 plus wickets, but Paddy Cummins wasn't even a factor in pretty much the whole series. He was in the third, but not much. Didn't have Josh Hazlewood. They were bowling. Obviously, Scott Boland did very good. But they were using Michael Neser. Doggett didn't really do that well when he was in. Neither did Jai Richardson. And, I mean, Bo Webster came in the final test.
Yeah,
so England still couldn't win again. Could only win one test. And it was that 2-dayer when everyone was getting wickets.
Yeah, so it was... And it just shows funny that, like... You watch Jacob Bethel, who played, the last 2 tests, who looked like he showed how to play on an Australian pitch. Same with Joe Root.
He's never got 100 in first-class cricket, Jacob Bethel, and all of a sudden he's hitting 150 against an Australian bowling attack. And yet none of the, Dunkett, Crawley... Ollie Pope obviously got dropped, I think, after the third or the second test. Ben Stokes even as well. None of them actually got runs.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie Smith as well, who just threw away his wickets for fun. And Harry Brook, of course, he just gave away his wickets. Play yourself into the innings. I mean, the best batsman of the whole series from England's point of view, obviously Joe Root. And, Jacob Bethel, they played Test cricket. They didn't bloody try to smack every ball for the boundary.
Yeah, exactly, and it just showed that it doesn't work. Yeah, it just doesn't work on every tour. You can play. They'll go to the next series. I don't know where it is. It might even be at home, and they'll play that way, and they'll win the series.
They can do that against the Bangladeshis and all that sort of bullshit. Who cares if you do that against Scotland or whatever? But against Australia, you can't just naturally think. Yes, you have to play your natural game, fair enough, but you can't just smack every ball to the boundary or try and get every ball and bat on the ball. You got to let the ball go. You got to just play yourself into the innings. And a lot of the time, even though there were when Jamie Smith got himself into his innings, got a 65 or something. Harry Brook got himself an 84. Duckett got 42 in that final innings. You always felt, even though they were on 42, they've started their innings. You always felt like there's one ball here, and they're just going to throw it. They're just going to throw the wicket away.
And the thing is, Australia would bowl 5th, 6th stump because they knew after a while, those sort of players would just smack it because they just kept on, and that would bring a wicket because you can't hit every ball through the middle in the middle of the bat. You can't hit every. They weren't going to do that. They were going to nick one. They were going to throw their wicket away. Yeah. So. And I don't think
Australia played very well throughout most of the series. No. Travis Head pulled out a couple of you think in Perth and in Adelaide with his 200s, and obviously Carey helped out, but those 2 innings saves Australia a lot of the time. He scored 100 in Sydney as well.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Travis Head, and Australia getting a bit lucky and England throwing away their wickets, this could have been a very interesting series.
Yeah, and I think it also showed that. The one thing that, it's always about batting and bowling. In Australia, you have to have the fielding at A grade level, because if you don't take your catches, Australia will punish you. And it
dropped 16 catches.
Yeah.
And I think only maybe 2 of them were really tough. A lot of them were obviously the Will Jacks one is one mentioned pretty obviously, but there are a lot of them where Jamie Smith drops a catch at the keeper, couple of slips catches go down. They take those catches, they stay. And I think one that mentioned in the commentary throughout most of the series was when England kind of had themselves in matches, they just never would go on with it. And Australia would just, get away. And it's just, it was quite disappointing, really, because I was thinking going into this series that England are going to win it. I thought England are going to win, or Australia are going to get. It's going to be a really close series.
Yeah.
But then they showed statistics and stuff of like England's first win in Australia in 4 series or something, 4 Ashes series, and looking at like the previous Ashes series between like even in England, they're like 3-2 England or 2-2. Draws. But here in Australia, we're just 5-0, 5-0, 4-0, 4-1. I mean, it's like, and they didn't prepare, and it's like you mentioned, like the last couple of test matches were actually quite intriguing. Like both teams had a chance to win games, but it felt like they needed the first 2 tests to just prepare themselves for the last 3 when basically the series was done.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah. Do you think Brendan McCullum keeps his job as head coach?
I do. I think it'll be interesting. I think McCullum keeps his position. I don't know about Ben Stokes, to be honest.
You think Ben Stokes could be the one to go? I think he probably. I would be very shocked if he left.
If he lost it's just. I don't know. I think there's more chances of McCullum being kept in the position than of Stokes.
I would be very shocked if Stokes lost it, to be honest with you. But I think he did show like the fight throughout the whole series. I mean, even though he whinged a bit and fucking made a couple of excuses. It was Brendan McCullum who said we over-prepared, wasn't it? It's like, bro, did you actually face any balls on an Australian pitch before this series began? No.
Well, the thing is that he never won a series in Australia either, so...
Yeah, so he
doesn't, yeah.
That's probably why he didn't do it. It's like, the boys are going to get angry at me and be like, bro, you didn't win one, so why are we going to have to learn from you? Anyway, that's all the cricket stuff. So finally we get to a bit of soccer, and on the Premier League, first of all, a couple of wins in the FA Cup coming in. And of course, probably the biggest story from the FA Cup this week was Macclesfield Town beating Crystal Palace. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
So 6th tier of English football beats the reigning champs of the FA Cup. They have guys who are like plumbers, and I don't know if you saw a photo. There was a guy, I think the captain of Macclesfield, who after the game was in the back of the pub, like full on like country football, like pouring himself a pint of beer. Like Crystal Palace, like I know it's obviously like it's not like they don't care, but it's like you can't lose to a 6th tier team. I think it was 117 rankings between the 2 teams.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
But this is what this sort of a cup thing does bring, you never hear about these teams, like the backgrounds of these players, and you just think, and you just think to yourself, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah. I remember, what was it, in the Carabao Cup, Grimsby Town knocked out Manchester United. Those sort of stories are what make those sort of matches so amazing. And I wish the AFL would like kind of play into it a little bit. I know there's been talk about in-season tournaments and stuff, and I'm like, whatever. I don't think we really need that. And I think the wildcard round is a bit of a wank anyway. But I would like the AFL, like obviously it would be tough and you don't have to do it, but we've got reserve leagues there, like the state league teams that just, state league football isn't really like, I feel like it'd get a lot more known, and we'd like know these state league players if they did like have some sort of thing that like could do that. I don't know, it'd be kind of weird, but I mean people say like, it wouldn't be competitive, and it's like, it could be like Manchester City flogging like a 4th tier team like 10-1, Exeter City I think it was. They flogged them 10-1. I mean, yes, that's obviously a possibility, but there's also those amazing stories where you hear about players who are like plumbers throughout the day and then have had to go and do training at night, but they've beaten like the players who are getting paid $89 million to play, and they're beating these teams. It's an amazing story. And then they get to like, the quarter, they get to like the round of 16, and they're getting like a Tottenham Hotspur or something. I think it was last FA Cup. There was like a team who had to play Tottenham who beat all these big sides to get there, and they're like a 5th tier team of English soccer. Those stories are insane.
Yeah.
Now, there were a couple of other results. Liverpool won 4-1. Florian Wirtz decided to, put the money away for a minute and actually play some actual soccer.
And
Shabazz
literally handed them the goal.
I mean, he scored an absolute banger, didn't celebrate. It was like, and then I think even Erling Haaland on social media was like, you can have a smile, bro. You just hit a ball from fucking 40 yards. I think you could bloody smile a little bit. And then he fucking, I don't know what he was thinking, like backheeling it. It's like, and then even if he did backheel it, what was he going to? Like in the
He was going to, but yeah, I don't know.
in the
yeah.
6-yard box. Like, don't backheel it in the 6-yard box, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, like it doesn't even matter if it's a third tier team. Like they can score it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's playing a bit of it was kind of like disrespect. It's like, come on, you know, you're not playing against kids.
Yeah.
You know, you're playing against sort of professional, players.
Yeah, it's like maybe just fucking play a little bit normally. But anyway, they still won 4-1. Chelsea won in their FA Cup tie as well, so yippee. So they'll be fine. And yeah, moving to a bit of Premier League. Now, last week, of course, there were a couple of results. Liverpool drew 0-0 with Arsenal. Arsenal could have had an 8-point lead on top on the other side of Christmas, and they still didn't do it. It was a boring game, apparently. Well, I didn't watch it, but I did see the highlights. And Martinelli, by the way, what a dog he is. Pushing, Connor Bradley. He was out with a serious leg injury. He's like, oh, get off the fucking ball. Hey, bro, how about you fuck off? Can't believe you didn't get carded for that.
Yeah, I know. It's just
absolutely ridiculous. Other results on the weekend, we had Newcastle winning 4-3 in a shootout against Leeds. Burnley and Manchester United played out a 2-2 draw. City played out a 1-1 draw against Brighton. City just don't want to win anymore, apparently. Fulham won 2-1 over Chelsea when Chelsea were down to 10 men. Everton 1-1 draw against Wolves. Crystal Palace a 0-0 draw against Aston Villa. Brentford with a 3-0 win over Sunderland. Bournemouth winning 3-2 against Tottenham, which was Semenyo's last game in Bournemouth at the Bournemouth Cherries at home. And West Ham lost 2-1 to Nottingham Forest. So interesting. We saw Liam Ranieri. What the hell is his name? Rosigne. Sorry. Rosigne is going to be the new Chelsea coach, of course, with Enzo Maresca losing his job. And obviously, a couple of days ago, the Real Madrid coach, Xabi Alonso, was sacked. Does that bring Arne Slot's job into question?
Well, they're saying it is. It's going to be interesting, you know. I think it's going to be based on how Liverpool go for the rest of the season. I think it's, to be honest, it could be decided based on how the Champions League goes.
Well, currently they sit 4th in the league, but obviously we have with the ladder right now between 12th to 4th. It is a 6-point difference. So the league is fluctuating pretty quickly in the Premier League. Liverpool are 8 points off of Aston Villa, who are in 3rd. So Liverpool currently hold the final Champions League spot in the Premier League at the moment. But in the Champions League, like you mentioned, they're doing very well at this moment in time. So they were up at top for quite a while, and they're the only team undefeated. They did drop down now to 9th, and they're sitting with 12 points. So they're not in automatic qualification just yet. I think there's 2 more match days to go.
Yeah, 6.
So, there's 6. They've played 6 currently. They play 8 in total. They will... I mean, you'd expect that they would get a pretty decent... At the moment, they would currently play Copenhagen in their game in the playoffs at the moment. Or in that playoff matchup. So, yeah, I mean, if they... Last year, they got knocked out in the round of 16 against Real Madrid. They have to do better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously... It would be tough depending on who they... I mean, they got a bit unlucky. They played against Real Madrid even though they finished like on the high end of the top of the thing. They got Real Madrid. You can't really ask for much harder.
Yeah, I think if Arne Slot's keeping his job, you think Liverpool would have to at least get to the quarterfinal. No, sorry, what would you think? Yeah.
I mean, we say this, but I mean, he did just win the Premier League. I mean, in his first year. Now, yes, obviously, and there's been a lot of change. It would be tough for the guy, and as well, who's like Jurgen Klopp's like sung his praises a lot. Now, there's been reports that Jurgen Klopp could take over Real Madrid. That was quickly extinguished. He doesn't want to do that.
No,
I'm not surprised by that, but yeah,
it's interesting, you know.
Would you like Xabi Alonso as manager?
I think he can bring a lot to the role. It's you know, he's always been a winner in a way, so why not?
I think something as well is like at Real Madrid, he wanted to I don't know if you follow much of Real Madrid, like the stories around it, but a lot of the players got a lot of personality, like big personalities, and they very much high egos.
Yeah.
And he wanted to bring some structure to it, but the players didn't want it. And that's why he struggled. Like he had issues with Vinicius Jr.
What did you hear about that one?
Yeah, I know. He's doing all kinds of things on social media and he's screaming at him he's been taken off.
Oh yeah, but they've just signed some sort of coach, and he's already been sacked because he said to Vinicius Jr. that he didn't deserve the Ballon d'Or.
Oh.
So he's already been sacked.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
But
I mean,
yeah.
why would you say that to him though? It's like, that's a bit shitty. But I mean, yeah, I mean that's the club has been run by the players for a very long time, and I think they wanted to bring Alonso in to like kind of give the manager more power, but he could never get all of them on the same page. So I think with a team like Liverpool, I feel like it would be a lot better, because I feel when you look at like Jurgen Klopp, for example, even though like they had the Mo Salahs and all those big players in the years when they won the league, it was always Jurgen Klopp's team.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a player's team. It was Jurgen Klopp who like managed them. And I think Xabi Alonso could do that. And you think about it as well, he was obviously the previous manager of Bayer Leverkusen, who with Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong. So that would be another link. And obviously his best football from both of Frimpong and Wirtz were at Leverkusen.
Yeah.
So that would be a great little link there. But end of the day, Arne Slot did win the Premier League last season. So the fact that people are like calling for his job, yes, they haven't had as good a campaign and all that sort of stuff, but they're still fourth, and in a league that, you know, Arsenal's the only one who's really doing well in. Maybe it's a little bit hard done by that they're just immediately like, oh, Xabi Alonso can just come in as that coach now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty much all we've got for this episode of the Boundary Riders podcast, guys. Episode 142, I'm pretty sure. We are back firing on all cylinders, and we should be back to Wednesday episodes next week. Yep, he's saying yep, so we're taking that to his word. In the next couple of weeks, guys, when the AFL Fantasy and stuff is announced, we'll start dropping links and codes to join our leagues and stuff for tipping and AFL Fantasy for next year. So make sure to keep your eye on that. Make sure to follow the socials as well, as we've been posting a lot more over there in recent weeks. And yeah, thank you for listening to this episode. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe over on YouTube, and over on Spotify, make sure to follow and leave us 5 stars, because I asked super nicely, guys. I did. And my brother, even though he couldn't be bothered doing it yesterday, he's here today, and we're going to be going back to Wednesdays from now on. So again, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all next week.
See you later, guys.